more money, or more time? You choose. If your product or service, or knowledge or skill helps people get either one or both, you'll be in demand. Always. If it doesn't, you won't. Offerings can and should do this by default, intentionally. But here's the problem. The ones that don't aren't communicating the value clearly enough to meet demand or create demand. So we default to the classic knowledge vomit approach. Specs, features, capabilities, technicalities, differentials, hoping your ICP will say, pick me, choose me, love me. Well, that strategy will send your revenue to Grace Salone Memorial Hospital for all the wrong reasons. The solution: ask why a lot, simplify, distill, clarify, amplify, repeat until it's painfully obvious how what you do either makes money, saves money, or buy time back. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Think about listening to this podcast right now. You're probably multitasking and catching 70, maybe 80% of it at best, right? Now flip that and imagine catching only 20%. Most businesses only use 20% of their data. Nobody, and I mean nobody, likes a spoiler, unless it's your customers telling you exactly what they need. But too bad most businesses miss out on these signals. All the important details, like call logs, emails, chats, just float in the digital space, never to be seen or touched from again. But HubSpot gives you access to the insights you need to grow your business. You get this data all in one place. And spoiler alert, when you know more, you grow more. Visit HubSpot.com to find out how today. The product doesn't matter. The industry doesn't matter. The customer doesn't matter. Do that well enough and you'll win. That's the formula, period. Ask yourself right now, does what you offer do that? Does your marketing communicate that? Does your UX, UI, CX, SX reinforce that? Does your ICP instantly see that? Does your community confirm that? If not, that's your diagnosis. And yet, astonishingly, product engineers and product marketers are often the first to go. But I digress. The very people who build what actually needs to work. And the people who have to take hundreds of inputs, data points, goals, shifting markets, sentiment, revenue pressure, unrealistic timelines, buyer behavior, algorithm chaos, underwhelming budgets, and 1,000 other variables just to find the needle in the haystack and then repeat it 1 billion times over and over again. Everything comes down to one thing: communication. Simply, are the people with the money informed well enough to take the right action? Translating that internally, will executives trust engineers when they say it isn't ready and needs more time? Will leaders stop acting like anyone can do marketing and actually fund, empower, and listen to marketing? Translated externally, simply, will buyers buy? Ironically and historically, the best businesses in the world either have the best products, the best marketing, or both. That's why if you can't communicate, market, and present the value of what you offer as more time or more money, you will lose.
What's up, digital world? You're listening to the I Digress audio experience with Troy Sandidge. Social media, marketing, storytelling, business, culture, and more. Coming to you in 3, 2, 1.
I sometimes, as right now, wake up in the morning, grab my phone, hit up LinkedIn, hit up Instagram, hit up Threads, scroll through YouTube, check my notifications, check my email, see who reached out to me, see what things I need to do, see my unending task list of things, get overwhelmed, lay in bed, and wonder, what in the world am I doing? Then I flip a switch and I almost replay that moment from a marketer's perspective. What messaging caught my eye? What things did I check? What things did I avoid? What things did I ignore? What things I set the most time with, the most thinking power with? And I cross-reference both of those things with my own experience, with how I would want to be marketed to, communicated with, and aligning what actually was the most valuable thing to me in that time window. And then I even asked myself, should I have waited another 2 hours before I even touched my phone? But by default, being a digital nomad and a marketer and someone who probably is a phone addict, whether I want to admit it or not, I did grab my phone and I went through those things. And whatever got my attention, and what didn't, did not. That is everyone's experience at some point. And I think many times we forget in business that that is the living experience. It's literally like hitting a bullet with another moving bullet in hopes that the collision occurs at the right moment every single time. I pulled that from Mission Impossible, like the 8th movie, The Reckoning Part 2. And it's true. Marketing is hard. Growing a business is hard. One, you have to ensure that what you offer, your product or service, actually does what it's supposed to do. That takes configuration, planning, analysis, test runs, engineering. Even if you're offering a service solution or you are the solution based off your knowledge and skill, you still have to prove and validate and confirm that what you actually do will do what it says, what you claim it to do. Number one. Number two, once you find out that it does, what it should be doing, you would now have to communicate, articulate, and market to various subsets of people who need that and need it now, because you can't just lock in IOUs of, hey, I'll follow up with you next year, and that becomes no revenue. So you're at an impasse. You have to do both. And you have to do both well. And do both well in a timely fashion that doesn't burn out all your money, that doesn't burn out every input you have, and delivers a multitude of outputs and a substantial margin of profitability and revenue that makes you not only sustainable, but eventually helps you scale and grow and do whatever you want it to do. Point blank, it's that simple. The outputs need to surpass the inputs. The in-between needs to be sustainable and scalable and repeatable until you don't want to do the business no more, or you sell it, or whatever. But I digress. Yet we complicate things so much with politics, with people who don't understand the product, who don't understand the market, who don't understand the communication or the marketing, but are the ones making the decisions on these various things. That's creating friction, delayed timelines, faulty misdirection that doesn't help and guide anyone anywhere. And then we complain about what's not working. We develop abstract, ambiguous KPIs, have unrealistic timelines, and hope and pray that we will be one within the trillionth of percentile that becomes the next Apple. Oh, and can we make sure that happens within the next 3 years because I want to sell? Okay, why do we all have to have that same living experience? Like a fully connected fever dream. I can't be the only one. I can't, but I digress. Listen, if the shoe fits and it feels like I'm talking about you as an executive, I apologize. But secretly, I'm not sorry. Truthfully, honestly, as sure as the sun goes down and it'll rise again, marketing will have this problem. Everyone thinks they can do your job. They give you no budget. It's just social. Just create more content. Just make more case studies. Just make another landing page. It doesn't matter about the experience of the website. It doesn't matter what the design looks like. Just crank it out and they will buy it. But then complain about why it's not working, because they're not considering even they, the very people who are making these decisions to employ other people to follow that direction, knowing that it will not work, only choose products and services that are actually being communicated in a way that they will see the value and buy it. There shouldn't be this massive disconnect in 2025 going into 2026. Honestly, there shouldn't be this disconnect anymore. Just how over the past generation, we have seen constant influx of marketing and communication saying smoking is bad. And we've seen the lowest numbers of people who smoke ever. At the same time, marketing still has this problem after all these years of continuously saying, if they don't understand your value and it's not aligned to who they are and what they need, no one's going to buy. We're all trying to find these schemes and shortcuts to just hope paid ads is just going to drive immediate money. They're going to buy it and they're not going to come back. It's okay. We'll keep replacing with new people who are ignorant of the product or fall for really bad marketing and just do the tripwire and do it and hope for the best. And then nothing happens. And we just keep going down this cycle. We went through the eras of radio, of TV, of the .com, of the golden age of social media, of the rise of the creator, shifting from TV to streaming, the big, glorious, ever-evolving internet, to now the new era infused with artificial intelligence and machine learning, to now to a point where we're questioning is something real or AI generated. At every era, at every instance, yes, there are people who have found the shortcut to make the numbers work, low inputs, high outputs, high revenue and profitability off marginal things. And they sold, and whoever inherited got a ton of poo-poo, very expensive poo-poo. But it looked good on paper, and the numbers spoke for themselves. But did they listen to the people? It always comes back down to the people. Every single time. I'm preaching to the choir. I know. I've been doing so many episodes of this podcast. I have talked to so many businesses. I have had so many discovery meetings guiding people on why this isn't working. And 95% of the time, they don't choose to work with me. Not because I'm not good at what I do or that I don't think I couldn't have offered value in exchange to help them get to where they need to go. Because what I said was the truth. And the truth hurts sometimes. And sometimes people are delusional that I can still do and market and do all these things without actually marketing, doing all these things. Simply put, does it make more money? Does it save time? Or does it do both? It doesn't matter the industry. It doesn't matter the product. And it doesn't matter the customer. When it comes down to it, it's those two things. Well, Troy, how does that work in any industry? If I am sick, that means I'm spending more time being sick in this moment than I am well. Does your product make me feel better so I can spend my time feeling good again? Simply put, if I don't like the way I look, does your makeup make me feel pretty? Does your makeup hide my blemishes? Does your makeup give me the confidence to show up as how I want to show up in the room? Those results allow me to be at my maximum top self. If I'm at my maximum top self, the likelihood of me doing well in those meetings, in that high pressure situation, on that date, for those photos, creates a level of confidence that I want. It shoots up the probability of success, of happiness. I want to spend more of my time feeling beautiful. Does your product do that? And yes, if I feel more beautiful, I more than likely will radiate more positivity. That radiance of positivity will attract more vibes. Those vibes could convert into money and happiness. And who doesn't want to spend most of their time happy and making money? Who doesn't want to spend most of the time feeling better, feeling well, and not sick? Yes, those are two general extremes and consumer-focused things that, that's very obvious, but it doesn't matter the industry. Now, you can say, hey, my software saves 2 seconds while the competitor saves 4 seconds. Sure, that feature maybe be differential for me to buy. But truthfully, more than likely, it won't. For the majority. That feature spec is not going to be the difference. But maybe that's the foundational pillar on how you communicate and articulate what actually will. Instead of saying our platform supports operational efficiency, say instead cut reporting time in half. Trusted by teams everywhere. Instead, say used by 3,200 plus revenue teams every week. Instead of our solution enables organizations to analyze performance data and generate actionable insights across departments. Whew, good Lord. Say, see what's working, fix what's not. Instead of we deliver scalable enterprise solutions, say you scale without adding headcount. Clear always beats clever. Specific always beats impressive. And outcomes will always beat features. And it's the same thing in all areas, from communication to marketing, communicating internally, communicating externally. It comes down to language. I emphasize leverage language to launch. If you don't know how to articulate in the right language to the very people you're trying to talk to, you're never going to move things forward. Internally within your business, externally within your audience. Like I said, I am a marketer. I feel like in some ways I was called to be, but I'm beyond a marketer. I've transitioned and expanded my horizons from just copywriting and social media to how do I align marketing into tying it with revenue and brand positioning and all these other variables and things we want to say. In my 15 plus years of doing it in 14 different industries and verticals, every single time, every single campaign, business, entity, meeting, project, website, within the website, landing page, copy of all types, it always came down to communication. And those who communicate well repeatedly do well. And those who don't do not. It takes skill to translate highly technical, highly complicated communication into condensed, digestible pieces where people can grasp, see the value, and be compelled and persuaded to take action over and over again under a microscopic, high-intensive timeline through nurturing emails, nurturing communication, back and forth, tracking it through to ensure they make the decisions you would like them to make by their own choice that results in money. And hopefully they advocate and they come back and they bring a friend and rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And you adjust through the waves of the generations of constantly changing social media platforms, buyer personas, consumer behavior, the external influences on the world over and over and over again until you retire. But even with that, there's so many variables that will basically say you won't get that far and you're going to do it again and again and again. Sounds grim. I'm not trying to be. I'm just stating the reality of what is and calling out the delusion of what many deny and choose to stay in. You know, sometimes before I have an opportunity to work with someone, a new client, I send them a few of my podcast episodes, not to suggest or say that my podcast is so great and grandeur and all that. That's not what I'm saying. One, I don't want to repeat myself. If I have episodes that articulate the value prop or suggestion or example at its best level, I'll send that. They can consume that and then come talk to me. Makes it a lot easier. I know all of you do it. Instead of you rinse and repeating 1,000 times, record the value of how your product works, a demo, right? You're going to send that video to someone, let them engage with it in their own way, in their own time. And if from that they want to have a real conversation with you and really explore what's possible, then yeah, for me, my podcast, tomato, to each his own, but I digress. And I'll send a few episodes that aligns with what their needs are, what they're looking for, maybe how I can best serve them. And if they listen, which some do, some don't, and they follow up and they reference things that I've articulated, then I think one part, because the whole point is you don't know me. So you need to understand my vibe and how I think, but also how I communicate. And if my natural default language doesn't align with maybe what you need or what you want, why go through all the hassle to just say we're going to do business if it's not enjoyable, if it's not a good experience, if it's not going to be beneficial? I always feel, as my wife would say, my podcast voice, the podcast version of me, is the most articulate, enthusiastic, sentimental, intentional, bottled up experience you can have in the moment. Because normal Troy is going to go off massively more tangents and take more awkward pauses and go all over the place. Not really, but you get my point. It's a very polished, condensed experience. And that's what I want to convey. I say all that to say people need to experience and believe that what you claim you can do it. Internally, we got to believe in this product. I can't sell something I don't believe in. I just can't do it. And most people can't. Because even if you're reading off the paper and you're saying it convincingly, it's something amazing about the human mind. We can sense the tonality of how you articulate things. And we may say, the logic says yes, but in my gut, I'm going to go with no. Because for whatever reason, we're not convinced. It's not just in what you say. It's in how you say it. It's in how it's delivered. It's the touch points. I will always remember when I first started out in my career, a mentor of mine who said, Troy, it's not just in the copy of the slides of the presentation. It's in the design. It's in the story. It's in the order. What do most businesses do when they present? They have a slide about themselves right away. They have a slide about here's the history and this and the numbers and all the things in the industry. Yo, get to the point. First slide. Here's what your problem is. Can we confirm that? Head nod. Here's what you want. Can we confirm that? Head nod. Here's what we can do. Head nod. Here's how we can do it. Head nod. Insert here, insert there. All of them about us. Now back on you. Back on what you need. Do you want to know how we're going to do it? More extensively. Cool, bet. Yeah, for some reason, we've created this cadence of we have to do all this in a certain way. You don't. Align the experience to the end user, to the consumer, to the decision maker. It's never, ever been about you. It's not. So why make it about you? Every move can make or break a $1 billion outcome. $1 Billion Moves, hosted by my good friend Sarah Chin Spelling's award-winning entrepreneur, investor, and venture insider, pulls back the curtain on the strategies, stumbles, and breakout moments that define the world's most iconic companies. From boardroom power plays to investor-backed channels, you'll hear the untold stories behind the iconic companies like YouTube, Canva, and Venmo, and go inside the minds of those moving capital at firms like Sequoia, Lightspeed, and beyond. Whether you're chasing your first 10 million, your first million, or your next billion, this show is your front row seat to how the smartest founders and funders win, so you too can make $1 billion moves in venture, in business, and in life. Listen to $1 Billion Moves wherever you get your podcasts. If you've never been on the front lines in a presentation under sales, if you've never been on the front lines of designing a product that's actually going to work, if you've never been on the front lines of communication and marketing on social, digital, paid, etc., you probably should not be the one making a decision on directives for those various subset people or departments or orgs and hope that they're going to be successful, because they're not, more than likely. Not that those talented people aren't great at what they do. They're being led by people who may not understand, or they just didn't bring in the right people in place and empower them who do understand to actually get the maximum best out of those people to drive the results that you want. It's proven. The businesses who invest genuinely in good product and good marketing and do both win. So why do we always think we're going to eliminate and not even try with marketing and put all of our eggs in baskets in sales and pull the whole volume play and do the numbers game if we get 500,000 MQLs, SQLs, and X amount of emails and X amount of people through the top of our funnel to get through the middle of our funnel to go to the bottom of the funnel? We're going to get X amount of money, and that's going to make my bonus look good. And like, oh my gosh, why are we still having this cycle even now? It doesn't have to be that constant. Haven't we learned and evolved by now? I don't know. And yet, I find myself Every time I'm in this situation, which is a guaranteed thing every year, of having to prove and validate marketing and explain and educate and articulate and at the same time regulate and disprove and dismiss inaccurate truths like I'm a marketing myth buster of sayings and truths and things people lead with as their guiding light to how they see, approach, and experience marketing, which isn't true or real or successful. I don't understand why still now we have new businesses coming to market who honestly just think if I create content every single day, doesn't matter what it is, I'm going to make X amount of money because they see their top people that they're consuming from doing that when they have it all aligned to their ideal audience profile. Of course, it's going to feel like a simple no-brainer. You are the consumer. That doesn't mean when you flip the script and now you're the one trying to get your product or service to be consumed, you're going to apply the same tactics that worked on you. It may not work. You don't have the same cadence, the same budgets, the same familiarity, the same relevance. So how are you going to compare? That's literally you comparing riding a horse to driving a car with tons and tons of horsepower and expecting to get the same result. You're not. They paid 100, 1,000, 10,000 times more money and it can do more things. I digress. I feel sometimes we live in a fever dream where we're still repeating ourselves over and over again of what's needed. I feel like after all these episodes, at this point, we should understand marketing and how people think and what people want and how people want to experience it. Yet, for some reason, I still have a job of articulating and educating and guiding and drafting strategies and implementations and systems and operations and copy and brand positioning and leveraging communities and NLP and psychology and consumer behavior to all align to help you grow your business, in part because people still don't get it. Why? And again, I want to stay in business. Yeah, I get that. But at the same time, I want to see the betterment of businesses improve. I want to see the experiences better. I want to see happier consumers. Not saying I'm not getting what I want because no one gets me. Make a product, make a service, make a solution that gets me. It works, market to me correctly, I'll buy. That formula should be very simple at this point. I get all the external factors of penetrating a high demand, a high bloated market. I understand of trying to connect with the right communities to have an edge and create a group of individuals who can really grasp what you're trying to do. I get those challenges. Don't add on to already the hard challenge of scaling a business of internal inflections that don't reflect the reality of what you need to do from a productizing of solution perspective or marketing perspective that drives monetary value. Let's not create more problems for ourselves. Let's not drag this out any further. If you don't have the language to justify the why, you'll never get the buy. No why, no buy. No why, no buy-in for people to believe, to articulate the value externally to those who are engaging with them. In short, it's simple and yet incredibly complicated to be successful in business. Let's not add to that by not trusting and allowing proper time and strategy to form. Most people move too quick. Most make decisions in ways that maybe they are not the most informed. Most create unrealistic timelines not based off research or logic or competency. It's by picking a random thing and hoping everyone else will just figure it out within that window and hope for the best, which is not. I've had my share of experiences where it didn't matter. Marketing has to figure something out with what's been given. Lack of resources, lack of funds, lack of data, lack of anything. And you're still expected to hit a moving bullet with another bullet. And sometimes marketing gets really good and get really lucky, and they both collide and you do hit that bullet. And then many upon many times, they don't. Because in this industry, and in most businesses, it's trial and error until something works. And then when it works, you have to hope you can do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Even though the environment, the rules of the game, the bigger players can change in an instant. So how in the world am I supposed to win a game where every time I play the game, the rules change, the players change, and I have to re-educate myself on the new rules while playing in the hopes that I figure it out in time to win, and then rinse and repeat and do it again. And I'm sure everyone who's a marketer in this room, and probably a product engineer in this room, listening is like, why am I choosing this career again? But I digress. I love what I do. I am good at what I do. And I am proud to enter every single day knowing the rules of the game are going to change, the big players are going to change, and the resources and tools available to me are going to change constantly. And yet I choose to try to hit the bullet with the moving bullet every day because I enjoy the journey. And there's no greater feeling when you do hit that target and it does work. And the campaign not only drives revenue, but drives impact and resonates with the audience. And the teams can see the experience and see and connect the dots to how we started with ideation to implementation and how it made the impact and how it worked. There's no greater feeling for a strategist to see something come from nothing to materialize into something that drives what their intent was. I love it. And as much as I complain about it and endure and navigate, I'm built for this. I love this. This is what I do. And if you're someone, a business who needs that, hi, I'm here. And I know many of people who are listening who are also marketers and strategists and brand positionists and all the things in between and everything and beyond feel the same way. We love what we do. But there's some hard days. There's some complaints. There's things I would like to change. There's things I would like to have to stop explaining. But it comes with the territory. Those who succeed communicate the best. Internally, externally, period. So, if you want to improve your marketing, one, you need to have good marketing. But two, slow down. Does it align with your audience? Is the experience good? Because I'm sorry, you may have the best product, honey. But if your experience sucks, if your experience is slow, if it's bloated, if it's inundated, we're not going to buy. And yet we still think, and they're under the delusion that they can cut corners and hope that it will happen. No, it won't. My good friend of mine, Christina Garnett, who is one of the best CX leaders in the game, said this recently. Here's a simple customer experience exercise that takes no time and always reveals what's important. Pick one everyday task your customers do. That could be logging in, finding pricing, updating details, reaching support, and do it exactly the way they do. No shortcuts, no internal access, just you and the real experience. Notice where you pause, where you feel slightly unsure, where something takes a bit longer than it should. Then choose one small improvement you can make this week. Customer experience rarely breaks all at once. Customer experience is made up of micro moments, and it erodes slowly through these moments we stop noticing. Customer experience improves the same way. One micro fix at a time. And I, admonish you to go follow Christina Garnett. She has a phenomenal new book out. And do that very thing for your CX. But the same thing can be applied in your product analysis and most definitely in your marketing and market analysis. Let's walk through the experience. Where the heck are your leads coming from? Oh my gosh, sales is like, yo, we need to generate leads. Okay, what are you doing, sales, to drive leads? No. We are the people who do. So we expect the leads to come in. Ah, I see. So we're not doing the whole inbound, outbound. No. That's all marketing. And I promise you, it feels like every year, marketing just takes on more than the previous. But it's okay. I digress. All right, fine. That's what you need. Okay, bet. How do you want these leads to be given to you? On a silver platter with all these touch points being pulled. Okay, so how are we supposed to capture that? Through a contact form. Great. The contact form is extensively long. I don't got time for that. Well, I don't know how to talk to this person if they don't fill out every single input we need, so it makes me easier to have the conversation. Well, maybe we, instead of making a 1-point touch point of here's everything you need, as if I'm filling out a healthcare form to see a doctor, which is not that serious. Let's just make a few touch points at a time. Hey, what's your name? What's your budget? What's the most critical thing you need? All right, bet. Thanks. Hey, touch point. Hey, we see you. People who have this budget, who have this pain point, typically have these symptoms. Does this feel like you? Heck yeah, it does. Okay. What state are you located? Of these 3 options, which feels the most real for you? Okay, cool. Thanks. Next touch point. You know, in this state, with that massive touch point, we get you. Oh my gosh, they get me. Yeah, we get you. Oh my gosh, they get me. Here's one more question. How urgent do you want to pursue this? Would you rather get some information to learn? Or do you really want to get right to the point and talk to an expert about possibilities and opportunities? Ooh, yeah, I'm not ready. I just want to learn. Okay, cool. But you know what? I really want to talk to someone. I think I need to pull the trigger. Awesome. Let's do it. See, the experience is so different, right? But it brings to the same result. But oh my gosh, because I don't have 100 leads into my inbox by Monday, instead of that process being implemented to have a higher level qualified, informed, and educated, and positively experienced leads by a month, we think that's stupid. We need this now. The reality, you can't rush a good thing. But when a good thing is discovered, people rush to buy. Print that one out and let me know what you think. Post that on the internet and tag Find Troy. But it's the honest truth. I sit here and again in reflection of where marketing has been, where marketing is going, as someone who's been in it for 15 plus years and have seen a lot. And I know people who have been in the game longer than me have seen a whole lot more. And yet, it always comes down to these simple things. And yet, many people fail at these simple things. And yet, here we are talking about the simple things. The micro impacts the macro. If you want to be in the macro, you got to make sure you understand the micro. But most people don't want to focus on the micro. They want to focus on the macro and hope that we all figure out the rest. Make it look pretty, but don't look under the hood. Does it actually work? It would be a very embarrassing thing if we pulled up the horse in the car and that car looks very pretty, but inside it doesn't output the horsepower it claims it does, and that horse beats you. And sometimes that's how you all look with your product and your marketing out there in the world. Look how shiny we are, but we can smell the poop from a mile away. We're like, don't think that's chocolate. I'm pretty sure. Even though you show it to me a million times on ads and retargeting and texts and emails, it still to me smells like poop. I'm not going to buy it. It's not chocolate. I can tell. I don't need to experience that. I can tell. We can see through it. Don't be that. Let's do better. Let's be better. And for the goodness gracious, can we hopefully improve how we see marketing in the new year? Can we finally give marketing what it needs to be, to breathe and grow? I'm sorry. You put a seed in the ground. If it doesn't have sunlight, if it doesn't have water, and it's not in a conducive environment to grow, it won't. It's simple. And yet people make things more complicated than they need to be. There's already enough variables that makes things hard. Let's not make it any harder. So if you are a marketer, if you are an engineer, if you're someone in between that's navigating that, stay strong. If you are a decision maker, give your marketing team, your engineering team some grace and a better budget. if they don't even have one at all? Again, ask yourself those questions. Does what you offer make more money or save time? Or both? Does your marketing communicate that? Does your experience reinforce that? Does your ideal buyer instantly see that? And does your community confirm that? Sit with that. Adjust, pivot, make the necessary changes, and let's see what happens. Yes, it's simple. Why do so many businesses and decision makers yet embrace it? Many would argue there's no shortcuts to a good thing, and there's definitely no shortcuts to a great thing. There's no shortcut to scale. You have to do the work. Make everything work in harmony. Bring it to market in the right way. Communicate the right way. And be patient. There's no secret. There's not. It comes down to simply that. If you need help communicating that, I'm here. There are many people who can help you communicate and articulate your value in a way that makes sense. If you're open and you understand that if you're not communicating things properly, you will never sell. No one's ever going to buy, and you're never going to grow. It's not about what you think internally in your mind as a founder, or what you interpret the sentiment through just random data points. It's what's the reality of what's in the demand of the market, and are you articulating the communication and value in a way that the market understands, wants it done, and will choose you. Ultimately, that takes time. And ironically enough, you're probably looking for solutions to help you make more money and save time to get your product or service out there to most people for you to make money, right? And the cycle continues because they're thinking and doing the same exact thing. So the sooner we understand it's a communication game and not just, I'm going to pay more money than this competitor to be in front of you game, the world will be a better place. But I digress. If you enjoyed this episode, leave me a review. You can go to idigress.fm. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, whatever platform you're listening on, give me a 5 stars if you choose to. Not forcing it. It's okay. Leave a review of what you honestly thought about the experience. Let me know. Tag me at FindTroy on every social media platform. Did a quote stand out? Did you like the vibes? Do you want me to explore something different? I appreciate every listener. And I appreciate every listener who actually takes action and value and impact from these episodes. They are a effort of love, a sacrifice, and something I genuinely enjoy doing. Because at the end of the day, the more you know, the more you grow. The more you grow, the more you can make a bigger impact with what you do with others. And so, thank you for listening. I'm sending you good vibes, good energy, and hopefully better marketing tactics. Listen to your marketers, improve your communication, and I hope for you great success and profitability. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. T out.
And that's a wrap. We hope you enjoyed this episode of I Digress. What was your takeaway? Care to share your thoughts and tag Troy on social media? You can find him on all platforms at FindTroy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review or comment for this episode from wherever you're listening. Looking for a marketing strategist to build the structure, strategies, and systems you need to get the success you want and the ROI you desire in your business? Book a discovery call to talk with Troy at findtroy.com. And as Troy's philosophy goes, imagination is the engine, content is the fuel, social media is the highway, marketing is the roadmap, sales is the destination, culture is the GPS. Thanks for listening.